Hello, it is Friday, the 6th of February 2026. The time, of course, is 10 past tomorrow. And today I'm going to talk about what I'm calling liquid interfaces and also the rise of a new role which I'm watching emerge in organizations called the AI operator. So we've all spent the last few years typing madly into AI chat boxes, ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude, Gemini, and that has been a genuinely good thing. Those tools have helped us write faster and think more clearly and analyze our data with more confidence and get really great first drafts of our work on the page without staring at that blinking cursor on the blank page problem, right? And so plenty of companies around the world are still getting huge value just by getting good at this layer of AI adoption. But there's something new that's being added on top. I'm watching it happen, and it's as these frontier AI chatbots are becoming more agentic, as it becomes easier to create these really simple interfaces or tools or small pieces of software just using good prompting techniques. As this is happening, I'm watching what I think is a really new way of working take shape. It's the early stages of it, but what it is we now have this world where we don't have to adapt our work to fit software. We don't have to bend our workflows around what software can and can't do. Instead, now we can build tools and bespoke pieces of software for ourselves and for our companies, and we can shape the software that we build and the tools that we build around how we work, right? I think it's easy, just as we have over the last few years, to keep our focus and kind of get lost by just watching the development of AI and classifying it by bigger models growing in capability, getting stronger, getting better reasoning capabilities. But actually, I think the real shift that's happening now is that the way we're actually interacting with AI and building it around our workflows is shifting right under our feet. So I'm kind of talking about moving from static software to using AI to create interfaces and tools bespoke on the fly for us that materialize when we need them, right? The alternative is, for most teams, work actually still is following the same basic pattern that it has for the last few decades, which is we have a task. So we choose a software tool that does that task pretty well, but then we adapt our work to what that tool can do and the interface that it forces us into. So if we need to analyze data, we open Excel and we work out which formulas apply to the work that we need to do, right? If we're building a presentation, PowerPoint dictates the structure of how we work. If we're writing a proposal, Word shapes our drafting and editing, right? So software has actually been built on this premise for so long, and we're so used to it that we barely actually question it. So software companies create these general purpose tools. They add enough features to satisfy a broad market, or at least the middle of the bell curve of a broad market, and then they expect everyone to mold their work to fit the software. It's just the way it always has been, right? We even hire for this, and we measure people's productivity this way. We say things like, you must be good at Excel, or you must be strong in PowerPoint. And largely because just being able to navigate those interfaces actually became like a proxy for competence in that role, right? But now we're flipping that around. So, for example, instead of thinking, here's a task, right? Instead of thinking, I need to do some competitive analysis. So I'm going to do some research on the internet, and then I'll open this tool that I've got, and I'll bend my work based on what I can or can't do in that structure, right? In this new world, you say, hey, I need to understand how my top competitors, these 10 competitors, are positioning themselves within the Asia Pacific market. Build me an interface that shows the pricing trends, any marketing shifts in their messaging over the last 12 months, and the recent launches of new products or services over the next 12 months as well. Build me an interface that I can interact with to compare all of those top 10 competitors, right? That's the shift. in this way of working, the work comes first, and the tool, the software that we use to do it, gets built around it. And to be really clear, we can do this now. Non-technical people who can't code are doing it with things like Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT. And so I want to be clear here. I'm not talking about like building full SaaS applications in the traditional sense. These are like micro tools. They're small, purpose-built tools or interfaces for a specific job or task or process that you or your colleagues in your company do, right? They're designed exactly to fit around how you do your work, your standard operating procedures, and where you already do the work and where your team operates, right? When the job's done, either like they're so quick and easy to build, you can build them, use them once or twice, and then when the job's finished, you never use that interface again. Or you can save them and tweak them every time you do that task so they get better and better. And again, this is just with good prompting, right? So if over the last couple of years you've played with tools like Lovable or Cursor or Bolt, this concept will feel really familiar to you that I'm talking about. But for the rest of us, what's changed is that these capabilities, this ability to build tools and interfaces is no longer confined to these like AI developer platforms. We can do all of this now within frontier platforms like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. Unfortunately, not Copilot yet. But in these tools, we can build these interfaces, interact with them, and connect them to our real data using nothing more than good prompting. And that I'm so pleased to say, because our focus at 10 past tomorrow has been on the ability to use chatbots over the last few years relies on good prompting. Those skills haven't gone away. We apply those skills to using the agentic features of these tools to build interfaces and tools for us, right? So this matters because it means this skill, creating many pieces of software, is no longer like a niche skill just for people who either can code or even vibe code. And really importantly, and this will please a lot of people to hear, this is many, many times cheaper and faster than the old paradigm of building software, right? So things that even a year ago would have required a proper software project can now be built on the fly, right? Tools that once needed like a team of developers and months of work and six-figure budgets are now being created by one person in hours for amounts of money measured in cents or at most tens of dollars, right? And this is not prototypes, this is real internal tools that people can actually use, right? Now I want to pause here and add some clarification. If you're thinking this sounds intimidating, is this another layer of AI skills that I have to learn? I'm not actually supportive of saying this is a skill that everyone in an organization needs to master. I think there's a really clear AI maturity path that's developing now that we can see and how they fit into organizations, right? So at the base of this AI literacy maturity path is being comfortable just using the AI chatbots day to day. People who can just understand their limitations, do good fundamental prompting, know that they need to check the work that the AI gives us, and they're treating it as like a co-intelligence partner, right? The next step up is tool fluency inside the platform. So being able to use files, do data analysis, do deep research, know how and when to use reasoning models. Those built-in capabilities, these people are not just treating AI like a fancy Google search, right? The next layer up is what I call workflow integration. And this is when you start to actually like infuse AI into your workflows using entry-level automations. And I'm referring to things here like custom GPTs in ChatGPT or gems in Gemini or what they call agents within Copilot. Those like entry-level automations that really speed up how AI augments your work. And so those first three levels, AI literacy, being able to use all the tools, the inbuilt capabilities, and then being able to use those entry-level automations. I actually think for most organizations, most companies, the goal should be to get about 80% of your people to that stage. If you can reshape whole entire organizations just there. But what I'm describing here with liquid interfaces is the next frontier. Not everyone needs to go there, right? In fact, I would say probably less than 10% of people in your organization need these skills, right? To be able to create these micro tools and bespoke software. Only a small number of people need to go this deep. And the people who do, this is what I'm referring to as the rise of the AI operator, right? It's an emerging new role that I'm watching happen, and also that we are encouraging within our client base that we do the deep consultancy work with, right? So what is an AI operator? It's not a traditional software developer. It's not an IT specialist. It's actually someone who, through good prompting, using Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT, can create these bespoke tools and interfaces, just with good prompting, remember, but also critically, they've been inside the business, right? They've been inside the business for a while. They understand how it actually works. They understand the processes the business is built on, the people, the departments, the teams, the actual messy world of how the business operates. And so these are the people that the other 80% who have, that foundational, really good competency with AI, but can't create the tools. They go to the AI operator or operators and they say, hey, I need this tool built, or this automation, or this interface. That's the AI operator, right? They know the business standard operating procedures inside out. They understand how the teams interact in the messy real world. And so then now armed with these frontier agentic capabilities within ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, they build the software that maps directly to those realities within the teams and within the company, right? So now your people, instead of having to ask IT for a new system to be built, that takes months and significant financial cost, or without needing to go to the market and find an off-the-shelf tool that does some of what you need, but then you have to mold the rest of your work around the strengths and the weaknesses of that tool. Liquid interfaces built by AI operators on the fly, quickly, exactly for what you need, when you need them, cheaply, quickly, powerfully, right? The tools don't just solve a problem once, they get reused and they improve with feedback. And, like I said, these things would have needed a formal delivery cycle, business cases and developers, and long timelines and significant costs, even up until a year ago. Now it's something AI operators do quickly. They can do these things, some of them between meetings, right? So the organizations out in front with AI right now, what I'm watching is that they have a small amount of people, these AI operators within the organization, who can build these bespoke tools around their real workflows, right? They're shipping these tools weekly, refining them based on how people are actually using them. They're doing it in-house. And because the operators know the business, they're embedding these tools and connecting them to the software that your people already use, right? And this is a big thing, because it means adoption doesn't mean asking your people to go through behavior change and create new patterns of work. Again, the tools that you build mold themselves around your work, not the other way around, right? Another really cool thing about these AI operator roles is they're creating really visible career paths for those AI first movers that you probably know who they are already within your company. You're thinking, Jenny's in social media marketing, but she is really enthused about AI and she's taking it on and she's doing incredible things. Jenny's the type of person who can progress her career into an AI operator role, right? Beginning to sum up here, the strategic edge of these new liquid interfaces and having AI operators internally isn't that you just create software and tools cheaper and faster. Yes, you do those things, but it's that you can pivot, you can change your stack, you can change how tech enables your organization quickly and responsively, right? When conditions change, you don't have to go out and look for a tool that can only do a portion of what you actually need and bend yourself to it. Build it quickly, cheaply, deploy it, keep the work going, keep the productivity high, right? And over time, when you layer these things, that ability to create these really bespoke solutions for the exact needs of your people in the business becomes a real competitive advantage, I think. I think this is the new shape of work that we're watching. It's not because the tools themselves are magical that you create, but it's because you shift bottlenecks, right? Away from waiting for technology or having to shape yourself to the technology. And the tools almost become ambient, and it allows your people to focus on their quality of thinking and of execution, right? So I want to summarize by saying this is not about forcing everyone into a new way of working with these AI tools. Not everyone needs to become an AI operator. Not everyone needs to be able to build bespoke tools. In many organizations, depending on your size, 1 or 2 AI operators may be enough for the whole company, right? So what matters is recognizing that right now, the best tool for your exact tasks often doesn't exist on the shelf, but now it can in minutes or hours. Our work no longer has to bend to the software. Software can be created on the fly to bend to our work. And that's a capability and a competitive advantage that we just simply haven't had before. So if you're already doing these things, if you personally are creating bespoke tools and interfaces using the agentic features of these tools, please let me know about it. If you can see ways that you'd like to be doing this within your company, also let me know about it. Put some comments below this video. Find me on LinkedIn. Love to have some comments and engagement over there. I look forward to the discussion.